Hey guys, my part of the book is page 36 through 38, ongoing and final assessments. Some of the points that they made in this section are that um, when doing these assessments or these tasks, that you need to do it. So the students know that oral communication is just as important as reading and writing. These assessment pieces will kind of put like, oh, well, I need to practice this. I can't just skirt by with muttering a few words or an almost complete sentence. This takes it to the next level, I feel. It is also important that um, as you create these assessments, that you don't lose sight of what your goals were for this course. That what you've been teaching and what you've been telling the students should be a reflection in these final assessments. That they should just be really close. So what you taught should also be in these assessment pieces. And they also mentioned that no matter what assessment piece that you choose, that you need to have a rubric with explicit details and criteria so that students know what is expected of them and what they're going to be graded on. For the book had given some suggested categories for this rubric, which are fluency, intelligibility, grammatical accuracy, vocabulary, and then a final overall score. These are some of the suggestions that the book had made. And it's also good to establish the levels of your students. So to know what level your student is in for oral communication, because uh, some of these suggestions or these examples of some possible final assessments are um, are not meant for the lower levels. So as I show these assessments, they start from the lower level and they kind of get more to the higher. And it also suggests for large groups that you use a bunch of the pair and shares or the group works to help out with this. So some ways that you can do a final assessment are they are dialogues, look at a picture and tell a story, role playing, presentations, group discussions, and lastly, interviews. So um, at the end of the task that they gave, it also mentions that if the country that you're teaching in doesn't allow just um, oral assessments by themselves, to put in a written component, just so that it can fill in that part of the components that your administration might ask of you. In conclusion, it says that regardless of the settings, it is important that everyone can see progress. If your students can't see how they're progressing, they're not going to feel that they're progressing. If you just say, "Oh, good job," and you don't give specific reasons of why they did a good job, they're gonna be like, "Well, okay, great. Did I do anything right? I don't know." So it's always good to have a rubric and scoring so that they know what they did and where they're improving, so they can see it as the time goes on. So these examples were some ways that you can use. Uh, these are some examples of what you can do in your classroom to see either a final assessment, or they can be used for ongoing assessments as well. So it doesn't actually have to be at the end, but stuff that you can use in your classroom over time. But thank you, and see you guys later.